Here's 3 easy ways that you can feel successful every single day, even if you're a perfectionist. I'm Nicole Song. I'm America's work-life balance coach. What I find often for perfectionists is they struggle the most out of everyone with being and feeling successful because they actually have this unattainable standard of success that they can only feel successful if they complete the project to 100% expectation and to 100% success. And while we are always looking for wholeness and completion and to feel really good about the projects and the things that we do, that kind of standard and being hard on yourself and being actually very unforgiving about how you did makes it very difficult to feel successful. So this is today's topic, is to make it really simple and really easy for you to start to feel successful. And these are practices that you can do for yourself every single day. Okay, number 1 is do something that brings you radical joy. Radical is the key here because doing something that brings you joy can be pretty simple. You might feel joy from snuggling with a pet. You might feel joy from walking around the block. You might feel joy simply from listening to some good music. Radical joy, however, requires a little bit of a pause to say, oh, what would bring me radical joy? What would really bring me the biggest, the most expansive kind of joy? And then that is the thing for you to do. So it could be going a little bit outside of your comfort zone. It could be calling someone you haven't called in so long. It could be connecting with yourself on a really deep level. Radical joy might actually be giving yourself a full hour to read a book. What does radical joy look like for you? Share it in the comments below, because it's different for every single person. And it's important to start to understand that radical joy is much bigger than we might give ourselves an ordinary experience of joy during the day. And Brene Brown says that joy is actually one of the most vulnerable experiences that we can have. So when you start to practice it, be tender with yourself, be kind to yourself, and consider, okay, radical joy, how could I start to experience it? How could I start to allow that for myself? All right, number 2 is to choose fun and spontaneity. So on top of radical joy, you could also start to choose having fun in your day and being spontaneous about having fun. I'm a planner, so I really relate to this. I like to have everything scheduled. I like to have things mapped out, including fun and joy. And so being spontaneous actually for me is a way to start to be a little bit more fun, to start to say, oh, okay, start to say yes to things that I might otherwise say no to. Like if someone proposes going roller skating or wanting me to do something that's outside of what the parameters of my brain, what I want to do, how I want to operate, I practice saying yes. Because saying yes to fun and to spontaneity is going to move your mind to being like, oh, I'm like enjoying my life. I'm loving my life. Fun could look like doing something really simple, like playing around. For me, like doing something physical, like doing a yoga practice can be really fun. Doing music, listening to music can be really fun. But spontaneous is like, oh, somebody else might propose to you doing something outside of what your normal is. Or maybe you have a free evening and you're like, okay, I'm going to just spontaneously choose something last minute, find an event that's really compelling. Go listen to a good book talk. Go do something that feels really outside of your norm, outside of your planning mind, and having that fun and spontaneity for yourself. Which leads me to the third way to feel successful every single day, and that is to celebrate yourself. Yes, and I'm talking about celebration on every level, from small wins to big wins. One of the real challenges in life is that nobody actually has any idea what you're doing all day long. And a lot of us sit around waiting for other people to acknowledge all the things that you did. You might be waiting for your partner or spouse to say, hey, thanks for unloading the dishwasher. But maybe they didn't notice you unloaded the dishwasher. And then you sit around saying, how come they did not notice I unloaded the dishwasher? So start to come into the practice of saying for yourself, hey, me, I did a great job unloading the dishwasher. So I do this for myself because unloading the dishes is my thing. I don't like doing it very much. Every time I do it, I say, Nicole, you are so good at this. You just unloaded the dishwasher. Good job to you. And I count that as a win. Sometimes when you think about wins, we can be like, oh, it's only if I had like a really successful meeting at work, or even bigger things like, oh, yes, I finally got that new house, or I finally, got a new car, that, oh, I got this huge win at work and that project was approved. Learn to celebrate the small wins. Learn to celebrate the everyday small things that you're doing that are actually making a difference in your own life. I often have to celebrate that I walk my dog every day. I walk her every day, 2 times a day, no matter what. And that is always a celebration for me. I walked her. I celebrate that I made myself breakfast, because some days I don't really feel like making myself breakfast. And I still celebrate that I did it. So when you start to celebrate things big and small, then you're going to start to see and let the celebration start to compound. So if this is resonating with you, drop a heart below in the comments and let me know, because this is an important one, that our tendency, especially as perfectionists, is to be very harsh and judgmental and unforgiving of ourselves. A lot of doubt, worry, and fear is also in that mix. So when you're a perfectionist and you're being so difficult and hard on yourself, it's basically impossible to truly start to feel successful. When you start to shift the pendulum in the direction of celebration, celebrating all wins, toasting yourself for an accomplishment, saying, wow, I did that. That is actually when you start to get the shift. That's when you start to see and notice and hear all the things that are going that are really great in your life. And then that starts to expand and compound into you are like, oh man, like I'm doing a great job at living my life. So if this resonates for you and you're like, yes, I'm going to start doing that, pop it in below, pop in a heart below, or pop in a comment and let me know what you're committed to around this and which of these practices you can do. And if you can really do all 3 practices, even better. So thank you so much for being here. Hit like, hit subscribe for more of this kind of content, and check me out at NicoleSong.com.